welcome to Linked Ladies Loosen Live, and Happy New Year. So good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us for this first LinkedIn Live of the year. So happy 2022.
Yes. Woohoo.
So what we'd like you to do is to say hello in the comments. And don't worry, you might think that you're the only one there, but you aren't, because this goes out to about 10, I think, different streams across our different channels. So you might think you're the only one there, but you're really not. And you'll soon find, as we start bringing comments on screen, that there are more than one of you out there. Hopefully.
Or you might find that you are the only one, in which case we're worried. No, not really. It's fine.
So
in which case we celebrate you even more.
Absolutely. The show's just for you. But let me tell you, whilst you're all saying hello in the comments, please do, let me tell you what this is all about if you've not been here before. So we are the Linked Ladies Loosen Live, and we are your working from home community. So we are here to cheerlead you into the week or into the new year. We are your biggest fans and supporters. And if you can imagine that on Monday morning, when we used to go into offices, remember those days, that we would meet at the kettle and we would ask you, hey, how was your weekend? You know, what have you been up to? And you would tell us your stories, and you might tell us what you're celebrating. And then we might go on and say, what are you looking forward to this week? Or what have you got on this week? And you might share that you need help with something or you need feedback on something. But it's not something that you want to kind of organize a meeting or schedule a Zoom or a Teams call about it. But we miss that kind of general organic interaction, don't we? And so we here are your working from home team. And it's not just the people here on the screen. We are building this working from home community every Monday at the same time at 12:30. But let me introduce you to us on the screen. So we have Melinda Ward. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello, Melinda.
Melinda is a business strategist. And there is Sarah Farmer. Say hello, Sarah.
Hello, Sarah. No,
well
sorry,
done.
not so literal. And can I just say hello? And also, I got asked a question last week. Is this just for women? And the answer is no. Just because we're all women doesn't mean it is for women. This is for everybody, whether you're working from home, looking for a job, needs some team support, whatever it is. Everything Vanessa just said, male or female, or anywhere in between. We don't care. Not necessarily for dogs, although yours might join in any second.
Yeah, I've allowed her in the room because she was being niggly in the next room. So fingers crossed, she stays quiet. Shh. Yeah, no, absolutely. We are absolutely all for diversity and inclusion and accessibility. I was searching again, actually, because the first week we did this, it was set up so the captions were running as we were speaking live. And I was looking again to find that button, but I couldn't find it. We need... there is that option. We need to get that option, don't we? So that we get live subtitles as we speak, so that we are more accessible.
That's a very good point. We will work.
That's our project for.
I know.
For
I was trying to find it, but I'll definitely spend some more time and research it for next time. So has anybody said hello yet? Is anybody there? Sarah, are you in charge of comments today?
Oh God!
Any comments?
I'm not in charge of comments, as far as I know. But so I don't have the control. Does anyone else have the control?
Okay, so I do have... Oh, if you've not logged... You have to log in as me, don't you?
No, I logged in as me today. I decided to be purely myself.
Goodness me. Well, right, okay, then nobody has said hello yet. So please do, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or LinkedIn, whether you're on my stream or Melinda's stream or Sarah's, please do say hello.
Hey, we've got one.
Yes, somebody is watching. So let's say hello to Joanne.
Hello, Joanne.
Joining us. Thank you. And thank you for saying hello. And maybe now some other people won't be as shy. So let's get into the format. So yes, normally We'll have that kettle chat. We'll talk about what we've been up to and what we're looking forward to or not looking forward to. But then this year, this is number 7. We changed the format slightly. And normally on the first week of the month, we will invite a special guest who usually will have a specialist subject to talk to you about. This week was going to be Dominic Neil Dwyer, who is a fellow marketer, but talks a lot about ideas and inspiration and resilience. But he wasn't able to make it. And so Sarah has gladly stepped in, and Sarah is going to talk about resilience. And hell, don't we need it?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It should be Blue Monday. Blue Monday is some other time of the year, but I think that kind of first or that second Monday back, I think we all need a lift, especially at these times. So what we will do in the other 3 weeks of the show, we will choose one of our specialist subjects to help you with anything that you want to talk about. So whether that's like this week with Sarah talking about resilience or any other kind of leadership coaching, neuro, linguistic, programming thing, all that kind of magic. Because then please do get involved with that. So Melinda, in her week, which will be not next week but the week after, Melinda will be talking about business strategy. So everything you need to do to kick off strategy. So you can send your questions to Melinda for that either before the show or in the feed. And I am here to help you with marketing. And marketing and then marketing yourself as well on LinkedIn. I can help with marketing your business or marketing an existing business. We can help you with all these things. Oh, let's see, some other people are here. Hello, Ashley. Thank you for joining us, and Happy New Year to you as well.
Happy New Year, Ashley. And Ashley also says Blue
Happy New
Monday
Year.
is next Monday.
Oh.
Well, at least it might be, unless you watch this show and learn how to be resilient. And then Blue Monday might be Orange Monday, if that's a good thing. I don't know. But it could be different if we put a different pair of lenses on it. So thanks for that. I didn't know it was next. I can make sense though, doesn't it? Because
yes, I think it's usually the third Monday in January or something.
Yeah,
like that.
But we ain't going to do that. We're going to change it. That's just a choice, isn't it? It's just a choice to see it as blue. So let's change the colour. Let me tell you there, Ashley. And Ashley usually is Ashley that goes off for he has his date at 1:00, his 1:00 walk. So let us know if you're up to that, Ashley, as well.
Very good.
Shall we start with what people have been up to, how things are going? Anyone got any good news they want to share? Anything they want to talk to us about? Any problems? But if we start with what have we been up to? What have we been up to? What have you been up to, Vanessa?
What have I been up to? Well, there was this little event that happened, Christmas, and it was my first one dry. I did it. No New Year's champagne. I actually popped a bottle of Prosecco on New Year's Eve, and I was with Alistair, my son. We were at home watching telly, doing the rock and roll things as you do, and we were watching Jules Holland because I do like Jules on New Year's Eve, and I popped the Prosecco bottle, and Alistair went, "Oh, Mummy, is that why?"
He's your accountability partner.
He wanted to catch me out. He was like, "Oh, I thought I'd caught you then." No, he hadn't. So I did it.
Good for you.
Right? Yeah.
Well done.
And it looks like Ashley's got some good news as well in the comments here.
So this is in reference to Ashley going on his date with his special girl at 1:00 for a walk, but also this good news being accepted onto the NatWest Business Accelerator. I don't know what that is, but well done. It sounds awesome.
Absolutely.
And it sounds quick. I love an accelerator. So well done you. Tell us what it is and what that means for you. But good news, Ashley. That's great.
Bravo.
What about you, Melinda? Then what have you been up to?
I have been away, and I'm still a bit away, so that's why I've got a different background this week. So I'm broadcasting from a secret location. But I have been aiming to spend a lot more time being active, and so I've been logging at least 10 to 12K a day, walking around. So that's all good, and celebrated a birthday while we were gone. And
happy birthday!
Yeah, New Year's.
Oh,
I
wow.
think I did know that, and I forgot to say happy birthday. Proud person. Very belated happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I would say that would be my kind of milestone, is another trip around the sun. And
You're a
and
proper
yes,
grown up now then.
No. Still don't know what I
Working on
still
that.
refuse to accept that title. But I have been starting to initiate some activities for business, even whilst away, setting up a few calls for the next few days to just kind of keep things going that had sort of kicked off at the end of the year, and now it's time to restart everything. So, yep, that's
Cool.
what I've been up to.
Good for you. Good for you.
So how about you, Sarah?
Oh, I was going to say, well, Ashley's just told us more, but we'll come back to that. What have I been up to? Obviously, Christmas. Had the whole family over. It was exhausting. Loved every second of it, but utterly exhausting. And actually started last week back at work feeling pretty knackered because I didn't really stop. I was going to, but then I didn't. But that's my choice. I had stuff in my head I needed to get out there. But now this, towards the end of last week, started to get back into it. This week, I'm cool. It all feels back on track. But yeah, had a lot of fun, a lot of nice food, a little bit of drinking, not a lot of drinking, and saw lots of family. So that was all fabulous. And Ashley has just, I don't know if you can pop this up, Vanessa, but so this is a 6-month mentoring program to help grow my business with loads of experts and mentors, and a huge program of events and activities. It means a load of work. You all know that you get out what you put in. Hell yeah. Good for you, buddy. Yeah, awesome. That sounds great. Do you know what? Just opening yourself up to listening and learning from people is just the best thing you can do. Read books, go on programs. It's very good. I can't wait to see how that helps you. Cool. Right.
Good. No, I think you're right with that all kind of development and help and learning. But the importance thing is, and we've seen this quite a bit just recently, people can say they've read 17 books, but do you actually put them into action? And I think as Ashley said, and that's Ashley's kind of phrase, isn't it? You get out what you put in. But you can read it, but then you've got to kind of put it into action to make it really, really count. So good luck with that, Ashley.
And taking that leap as well, because a lot of people might look at things like this opportunity that Ashley has and say, oh, maybe another time, or I'm not ready, or whatnot. But the thing is, with these sort of things, you'll never be 100% ready. So you really do need to just apply. And what's the worst that could happen? So apply. If you don't get in, fine, you can learn from that and apply the next time round and apply those learnings. If you do get in, great. So yeah, what's the worst that could happen is always a good question to ask if you're hesitating on something.
It's the absolute best. And the people that do invest in themselves, time, money, effort, believe in themselves to do it, and therefore we believe you in as a client, and therefore you get more business because of that, and it goes on and goes up. So it's that isn't just me saying it, that's proof. It's a successful person out there. They've all got these same traits within them, is they damn well give it a go. And focus on what can be rather than what can't be, which kind of links us to the resilience stuff as well. But Ashley's back. Ashley, thank you for playing with us today. This is Joanne.
Oh, this is
sorry.
Joanne.
Oh yes.
Joanne.
Oh good. So Ashley, you're getting support from our other listener out there, which is Joanne.
Our community.
Our community. So involved with the working group at the Institute of Directors developing the mentoring framework there. Oh cool. Very, very good. Mentoring's so important. We can all learn stuff, and most of it isn't new, what we're learning. But our job, I think, as leaders of ourselves and as for other people, is just to share what we know, so everybody can get better. And like you say, not all the knowledge that we take on we're going to use. That's our choice. But we have the honor of being able to share it with people. What you do with it after that is your choice. But
also. Great. Yeah, we also have the situation where I've found that sometimes I could read something and it's kind of maybe a bit flat. But if I talk to somebody who's also read it, that collaboration or that additional viewpoint can all of a sudden cause the light bulb moment that I'm just like, oh, no. Or sometimes, how many times have you had the experience in life where you know you've been told something multiple times, or you've read it or you've heard it, and then somebody new says it in a slightly different way. It's the same message, and it never resonated with you before, but now it does. So expanding your contacts and, you know, connecting with different people, even in different industries. Don't just stay in your same industry, because you can learn a lot from getting perspectives that are beyond the same thing you've always done.
I think there's a lot of good sense in that. But there's also that the idea that once you get it out there, it suddenly becomes more real. Because when it's in here, you don't really listen to it properly. But once you've written it down or said it out loud, it becomes much more tangible, doesn't it? But also, how good are we at giving advice to others? And how bad are we at listening to our own advice?
Oh, yeah.
That whole mentoring thing is brilliant for that, because we can, you know, whether you're the mentor or the mentee, and I think it's a give relationship, I really do. Once you kind of try and lead somebody to come to a conclusion, or you're helping them, or you're giving them your ideas, you're actually getting it out of your head. And it's easier to give advice than to listen to your own advice. And I think it's really fruitful, isn't it, when you can just talk to somebody else. So brilliant, Ashley, that you're getting kind of professional help and mentors and ideas with your business. It should be really, really good. Well done.
Yeah, good stuff. So what we do now then, Vanessa, I'm just looking at time. We're gonna, oh, hello, Ashley's very good. He's a business coach. Good for you, Ashley. I knew I liked you. My first expense to my business was a coach mentor. Yeah, I obviously know that it works. There's the amount of people that try and run their own business or offer advice to other businesses and don't have any support. How can we all know everything? How can we all be great at everything without learning it? And what we knew 5 years ago has undoubtedly got better since then, and there'll be more information, different ways of doing things. He also says I'm learning from Gen Z. Mentor.
No, that's Joanne again.
Oh, is it? Sorry, I'm just so obsessed with Ashley. Sorry, Joanne, I'm going to be obsessed with you now. But yeah, investing in yourself and investing in others. In fact, I've got a post that I'm writing about that at the moment, following the first airing of Stephen Bartlett on Dragon's Den, which is in the UK. So if you're watching this elsewhere, it's a UK show. Although they've probably got them overseas as well, where he invested in somebody who had put £750,000 worth of his own money into his business already. And you could see the moment. Well, I was watching for that moment in Stephen Bartlett's eyes, where he went from, I could think about investing in you, to now I'm really serious, because if everything else pans out, you're serious about you. So am I. It was incredible. Anyways, post coming out about that tomorrow, so I won't ruin that.
Good. So we've
foreshadowing.
Sorry. So we've done the weekend or the holidays slightly, and is anybody celebrating anything? Sarah, your daughter has gone to do a GCSE mock this morning.
Yeah, no, proper GCSE. So
real thing. Oh God!
I know this is really weird. Her school is special, I shall describe it as, in that they choose to do one of possibly the hardest, most important exams that the kids have to do. Maths GCSE is their first real life GCSE. All the rest are mocks. But the good news is that if she does well in this, she doesn't have to think about it over the next few months. So it's one big thing to take. So I can see the fors and against of it. But I've been terrified. I've been terrified. I never knew how difficult it was to be a mum of a child doing GCSEs, because you want them to do so well, and being very careful not to put that fear onto them and just say, whatever happens, I'm proud of you. That's my mantra. She's worked really hard. Anyway, she's done it this morning. I've already picked her up and brought her back, and she came out smiling. So, she thinks she answered enough to pass it, and that is great. And if it was more than that, brilliant. We're not into, you've got to get 9s in our family. We are be happy and do as well as you can kind of family. So yeah, that's been my weekend, worrying about that. I don't know.
Are you celebrating anything, Melinda?
Not just starting a new year strong and looking to take all that I've learned in the past year and apply it. And I'm not really one for specific January 1st resolutions, but more a matter of I want to make it. I've got a lot of new tools in my toolbox for keeping positive, for building resilience, for kind of just taking positive action, and it's just fine-tuning those and carrying forward.
Very good. So that leads us quite nicely to Sarah's bit, but I'm just gonna just hold
see what I did there.
Hold your horses. I know. So resolutions, anybody out there, please tell us, how's it going? Do you set resolutions? Did you set resolutions? Have you started strong? Or are you working up? I mean, you don't have to expect it to kind of happen on day one, because as we were talking about before Christmas, it takes a while to build up a habit. So it's all right if you've not nailed it just yet. We've got another kind of 51 weeks to go, so there's still time. But I know a lot of people kind of, a few people had a few things to say about I don't set resolutions but I found all the chatter about goals and resolutions and intention setting quite inspirational. And there's two things. I told you I brought props, didn't I? There's two things that I want to share that I learned from others. So the first one was a weekly win box. So it was a lady who has an agency, and I can't remember her name, Timea, I think she's called, Timea. And she was saying it's really easy to have that big to-do list and to get lost in it and then end the week thinking that you'd not achieved everything that you wanted to achieve. And so she was saying it's a good idea to stop at the end of the week and record your wins. So I've got a weekly wins and momentous memories box, and in there is week one, my little list of great things that happened last week. And I might not have crossed everything off the list, but there are other things that came up that were really good as well. And at the end of the year, or throughout the year, I'm going to enjoy dipping back into that to see the good stuff. So that's good. And then another, somebody else had been given a gift to help them manage their time. One of these. So it's an egg timer that measures an hour. And she's going to use that as a visible clue, basically, to focus her time on whatever she's working on for an hour. And she's not going to allow any distractions in that time. And it was Lisa Turner who shared it on LinkedIn. And I thought, I've got one of these gathering dust on a bookshelf in the lounge. I thought, I'm going to dig that out. And I'm going to start using it. So I really like that. So thank you, Lisa and Timea, for those great ideas. But yeah, resilience and resolutions. Sarah, help.
Do you want me to talk about resilience now then?
We do. Give us those tools. Shall I put you at the top of the screen, actually? Go on,
I don't mind. I don't mind where I sit. Funnily enough, what you've just talked about comes into this whole resilience mindset. So there's a few facts that I want to share about resilience first that most of you will already know. And if you're watching this on replay, then I hope this resonates with you as well. But we will all need to be resilient at some stage in our lives. There is no way of getting out of it. Something is going to happen that's going to require us to feel and dig in deeper. For example, a pandemic might hit. Now, who that didn't affect, I don't know. So we know this is true. We also know that if we learn to be more resilient, it helps us. But should we wait until something happens and learn to be more resilient, or should we practice resilient type behaviors all the time, so when something does happen, they're already there? For example, things like you're just talking about, Vanessa, those are resilient tools that although we don't think it's going to help us suffer a crisis, what it's training our brain to do is to manage things more effectively. Now, there are some key behaviors and key tools that resilient people do more than others. And we can learn from those, and they're well documented. And I'm going to share those with you. But first, I just want to share with you a personal story about a time when I had to dig very, very deep, and what we can learn from that, and what I learned from that, and how it helped me be more resilient today. So 7 years ago, my mum went missing, and she went missing for about 12 hours. When we found her, I'm trying to keep this very short, by the way, one, so I don't get emotional, and two, because I know we have a short amount of time. When we found her, she was clearly very unwell. She didn't know where she'd been. She hadn't fed herself. She hadn't really washed or done her makeup. She's a very proud woman. She just didn't look like her. She didn't know what was going on. So me and my sister took her into hospital, and she was diagnosed with an enormous brain tumor, the size of a Jaffa orange. So, not like a little orange, a big fat orange. You can imagine the emotions and everything that you go through when you hear this sort of information. Several things happened. We got taken to a specialist hospital for neurosurgery, which was the Coventry Hospital, very close to where Mum lived. And the great surgeons there were looking after her. And we were looked after by one particular one who didn't have the best bedside manner, but my God, was he a good surgeon. But he brought us into the office before Mum's surgery and said, look, this is what's going to happen. She is going to have an operation. So immediately the choice was taken out of our hands, because we'd been considering, should we operate? Is it too bad? We didn't know what the choices were going to be. Suddenly we didn't have any. I'm going to operate or she's going to die, was his first words. If she doesn't die on the operating table, which obviously we don't want her to, there is a very high chance she will be considerably different when she wakes up. Her cognitive impairment will be, we won't know what that is until she's fully recovered. So when you're left with those two options, you are in a very strange place. And all I remember is walking out of that room. I don't know where my sister went. She went one way, I went another. And it was too much, and I collapsed to the floor. And I was screaming and crying. I totally and utterly lost the plot. And I can feel it now. I can feel it. I know what was happening to me. I just couldn't cope. I thought I couldn't cope. I thought it was going to kill me. I thought it was going to overwhelm me and consume me. What was really interesting is quite a few people walked past me and ignored me. And I think it's because I was in this special neurosurgical ward, which was a locked ward. And so many people must have been in that moment or had that moment. And they just walked past me, oh, she'll be fine, she'll get over it. But two nurses came to found me, literally picked me up, because I'd lost muscle. I couldn't stand. I couldn't do anything. And they took me into an office. They gave me sweet tea, because that solves everything. And they gave me a really strong talking to. They were quite firm. And they left me with these two thoughts: choose hope or give in and give up. And I thought, okay, I don't know how to choose hope, but I'm going to give it a whirl. And I chose hope. It's not in my nature to give up. So it was an active choice. I want to choose hope. Now, the outcome of this story is that I got more than I could have hoped for. Not only did she live, but she lives on her own. She still drives, slightly scarily, still drives. She has some odd moments, but they're quite amusing. And what did happen was she did have some cognitive changes, but what that meant was we now have a better relationship than we've ever had before in our whole lives. And for that, I am so grateful. Now, so that's the story. So it happened to me. What I'm going to pick out is where those resilient behaviors came in. I didn't know what they were then because I hadn't studied it, but now I have. I can see where they came in. So these are behaviors that resilient people use. And not all of them I did use them, but I did use some of them. The first thing is that we can choose these anytime. We can practice them. We can make them our reality. The very first one is accept that shit happens, and it's going to happen. Take off your rose-tinted glasses and take away this poor me mentality. Resilient people don't have that. Or if they do, they catch it and they stop it in its tracks. It won't make the trauma or the stress or the need for resilience, whatever that is. It could be that you've lost a job. It could be anything. It won't make the pain go away, but it'll make you more prepared. And there's something about being prepared for it that helps you deal with it. So you've got to have this mentality that is, okay, it could happen to anyone. It just happens to be me. It's not that it's unfair, because that's taking your energy away from a positive response, which is, all right, what can I do instead? So this takes us to point 2. Sorry, Vanessa.
I was going to say, just before you go on to point 2, absolutely. I once attended a TEDx talk, and I can't remember the lady's name, but she was a mathematician and she worked on probability. Okay. And then became this amazing poker player because she used her probability mind to help her with the cards. And she was quite kind of famous because of that. But her TEDx talk was all about 3 shit things are going to happen to you every year.
Okay.
It might be that you crash your car. It might be that you break your phone. It might be that you lose a parent. But if you start every year thinking that 3 shit things are going to happen to you, when they come, you'll be thinking, okay, that's number 1 then.
That's one.
Yeah.
Not quite that easy, but,
No.
but like you say, just get into that mentality that the life isn't smooth and always falling, with rose-tinted glasses and petals and joyousness. Shit happens.
Instagram filters and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's another great TED talk, which actually some of my information is coming from. Who wrote that? It'll come back to me in a minute. Not wrote it, sorry, spoke about it. I'll come back to the name of this wonderful lady. But it's about all about resilience and the 3 things that you need to do. I've got a few more that I add in. But one of the things is not to focus on this perfect life that everyone else is having. We do that. I don't look at Facebook very much anymore because it's just full of, look at my perfect life, look at my perfect child, look at my perfect this. And we know actually underneath it all, it's probably not that perfect, but it gives us all this sense of I'm a failure. So resilient people choose what they're looking at. They choose where they get their information from. And we look at things like the pandemic. How many of us, after a while, stopped looking at the figures, stopped looking at the death rates? It wasn't that we wanted to deny it was happening. What was it going to do to help us? Nothing.
Yeah. How does this serve us as individuals is a good question, isn't it?
So that comes in one of these behaviors and that resilient people have. So the next thing is focus on what you can control. I often talk about the sphere of influence. What can you influence, what you can control, and what is on the outside of that you have no control over. Now, what's interesting is the human brain absolutely wants to have certainty and control over things. And as soon as it's taken away, we can go into a victim mentality. And without going into great detail about this, a victim mentality is not a healthy place to be because that's the woe is me, it shouldn't happen to me. It's not a resilient mindset. So one of the tricks that people use is to find what they can control. What can I do? And one of the things I did with Mom was the only thing I could do was tell her I loved her, which I'd never done enough, if ever. Tell her what was going to happen to her. Tell her I was there for her. We would sort everything out. That was the only thing I could do. That gave me some control back. And this feeling of having some control is a really powerful rather than a powerless condition to be in. Prisoners of war that survive longer have this ability to focus on something they have some control over. And it's very limited, but they find something. The other thing they do is they find humor. And I mean, this is going to sound mad. Me and my sister have never laughed so much or cried so much during that time. And there was sometimes when we fell to the floor in the hospital laughing. And what I didn't do was go enjoy the moment. I thought, God, I'm an awful person. How could I be laughing? What I was doing was filling up my resilience bucket. Because we're so busy withdrawing and taking out, we forget to put in. So people who do gratitude stuff, that's not the right way of saying it, but how do we say it, Vanessa? They demonstrate gratitude. Practice gratitude. I know because you do this, and think about the good stuff and recognize it and put it in their box. Literally put it in their box. That you just showed us earlier. Are more resilient than people that don't. So find some humor, find something that makes you smile because you need that, but don't feel bad about it. Enjoy the moment because there's going to be plenty of other times during those resilient episodes where you are going to be negatively drawing down on that account you've got in that tank. Third thing is we're hardwired to look for negatives and threat. It's how we keep our species alive. So this is back to the gratitude thing. Go looking for good stuff. Before something awful happens to you, spend your time looking for good stuff. This is why people who practice gratitude daily are more resilient than people that don't. Do some laughing, fill up your bucket, fill up your box like Vanessa's just showed us. And then the last thing is that resilient people will actively interrupt their pattern of negative behavior. So I've talked about this a lot with all of my clients because there's always something blocking them from moving forward and making a big decision. And that is because there's a fear of something. So it doesn't matter whether you're talking about resilience or anything here. This is just about mindset mastery. But resilient people are able to do this better than others, and we can practice it when we're not needing to be resilient so that we can use it whenever we do need to be resilient. First thing is notice that you're doing it. Notice you're in this doom loop spiral. And then ask yourself, and you've already said this, Melinda, is how is this helping me? What does that say?
It's reversed. We can't. Yeah.
It's on my pinboard. Get out of the doom loop.
It says mood loom, but we like it.
All right.
But ask yourself, this is called a pattern interrupt, all right? This is you're actively interrupting your pattern of behavior because it's out of control until you consciously start to interrupt it. And ask yourself this question, is this helping me or hindering me? How is this helping me? Do I want to carry on with this or not? Now, sometimes with my mom, I go, yes, I do. I want to cry like a baby. And that was fine. I had the power of choice then. I'd chosen to do it. But then I also chose when to stop and go and do something else instead. And that's the next bit is what could you think, feel, or do instead? This is called the state triangle. Is if we change the way we think, we can change the way we feel, or we can change what we do. They're all interlinked. So if I would actively go and do something rather than lie on the floor, scream and cry, I would automatically change how I felt and what I thought. Mm-hmm. You have more power than you think, even in times of adversity. But if you consciously practice these things before anything actually happens, then you're in a much stronger place to deal with it when things do happen. So,
yeah, and I was going to say one of the points you made, I kind of want to highlight it too, because the concept of feeling guilty about laughing or having fun or something like that. I know a lot of people who, like, let's say, for example, they have been made redundant from their job, or, and then they think, oh, well, I have to sit in front of the computer all day. I don't dare go take a walk. I don't dare take lunch because I need to do this thing. And that actually is creating a more negative mindset, as opposed to saying, right, I'm going to spend 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon, or whatever suits you. But allow yourself to say, right, I have an opportunity right now. I have an opportunity to take a class I didn't have time for before. I have an opportunity to try something new. I have an opportunity to go for a lunchtime walk, which I might not have had before. But so many people think, oh, but I should be guilty for having fun in a trying situation. But you shouldn't. You need to.
Yeah, and the science proves that you shouldn't. It's not even just let's just not say we shouldn't. The science proves you shouldn't, because you know that when you're smiling, when you're laughing, you're releasing different chemicals to counteract the anxiety, and you're filling up that reservoir of ability to cope by doing it.
Endorphins are our friends.
Endorphins are our friends. I call them endolphins because they just swim around and make us happy. So I don't know what people, if people are listening to this, what you think. Have you got any questions about it? I don't know whether you ladies have got any questions about that, or anything specific you're dealing with out there that you just think, God, I could do with a dose of this. What else do I need to know? Let us know. We've had a couple of comments come in. I haven't got a clue what either of those mean, but they are very welcome, whatever they are.
Yes, they're coming from YouTube.
YouTube, two different YouTube options there. Okay, so what do you think then, Vanessa? I know you and I had a little chat yesterday about something. Were you thinking about that?
No, I was thinking of so many things that you'd said. I'm scribbling whilst you write. Okay. Because there's so much, and that you said, finding humor, for example. We know that when we smile at somebody else, they smile back. They then go on and smile at somebody else. You're kind of building up resilience the world over when you start smiling, and it makes everyone feel good, and it makes yourself feel good, doesn't it? You'll know the science that when you smile, you teach your brain, or you tell your brain that you're happy, even when you're feeling bad. So smile more often, which is good. Hardwired to the negatives. How many times will we get so much good feedback for something, and social media is great for this, and then one negative comes in?
Yeah, and we're all over
the negative.
All over the negative.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about kind of telling ourselves these red stories that are negative, that we have to, as you were saying, find a way to stop, recognize it, and turn it into a green story, turn it into a good story. As Melinda was saying, it's an opportunity, it's a positive, just turn it into a positive, whatever it is.
There's always something that, I mean, even in that story about my mum, there was always something. It was either the way a nurse treated you that was so lovely you could celebrate them. You had to really notice the tiny things and just keep them in your pocket at all times. And I know loads of people have had similar situations, different situations, but this, smiling on a regular basis, telling people something positive, thanking people, it's all positive vibes, and it's not woohoo hippy dippy shit. It's real. It is absolutely real. And I'm going to hold my hand up here, I never used to use this. I used to live in a state of trauma where I was in competition with everybody about everything. I had to be the best, I had to be the first. It started from when I was tiny. And when I stopped doing that, once I learned about this, I can't tell you, it's
freeing.
It's life changing. I'm so much happier, and people are getting so much more out of me, and I'm getting so much more out of myself because of it. And I'm really
and
I started practicing gratitude in March, but before then I heard people talking about gratitudes and affirmations, and I thought, what is all this woo? Yes. I'm a northern girl. What's all that crap?
Yeah.
But actually, I've always been an optimist, and I've always been a happy person. But it helps so much. I do it every morning now with a group of girls with Sarah Cooper and her posse, and I absolutely love it. And it has been life changing. And one example of this is when my camper van, we were going on holiday, me, Alistair, and the dog in the camper van going up the M6, and it broke down. There's black smoke. It was a mess. Like pulled on, and we were on our way to go to a holiday, so it was just the worst thing that could happen. But straight away my brain kicked in, it's not the worst thing that could happen, we're all safe. I managed to get the camper, I started it again, black smoke and everything, and got us off the motorway because there was an exit lane just ahead. I got us off the motorway into a safe space. We were all alive, healthy and well, and I had breakdown cover. Everything was going to be fine.
That's all right. Yeah. It
could have been a lot worse, so that's what gratitude does, isn't it? It gets the red story out of the way and goes to green.
It's the reframe, the ability to reframe and to choose to see whatever is happening to you as an opportunity. A very close friend of mine recently lost a job very, very suddenly, and the initial feeling is, oh my God, the end of the world has come. But the reframe of what is possible, which we're working on together, is so exciting. It blows what did happen out of the water. And it is a choice. It's not that some people are more able to do this than others. It's a choice we make. And the people that make that choice do better, are happier, are healthier generally, and get more out of life than those that don't. So which are you going to choose?
Yeah.
I know
exactly. We've only got, it's amazing. It's gone so fast. We've only got about a minute left.
Okay.
But absolutely agree with the idea of training the brain to say when something crap happens, which it inevitably will, whether on a small scale or a large scale, there's nothing wrong with saying, in the moment, well, this pretty much sucks.
That's normal. That's human behavior. You've got to be normal.
But the importance of this message that we've been presenting in the show today is not toxic positivity. It's not be positive at all cost or deny your emotions. That's not it at all. It's a matter of have that moment and then recognize when it's time to move on from that moment and when it's time to shift from mourning for the change that's happened that wasn't what you expected, and now take positive and proactive action to either learn from it, take advantage of it, or just do a complete redirect and do something that serves you positively, instead of sitting and just thinking, I can't finish my plan for retirement at whatever age. exactly the way I laid it out, so the world is over. No, it's not. You can readjust, and that's what life is all about, is being able to pivot positively.
Ooh,
Absolutely. Everything is always working out for me. That's one. And the other thing I tell myself all the time, even when something really bad happens, is I am exactly where I need to be. Whatever's happened to me, it's there. Something better is around the corner. I am exactly where I need to be. So that really, really helps. And that is the end of the show. So join us next week. Dominic Neil Dwyer will be with us to talk about ideas and inspiration. And 12:30 next Monday on the same channel. Any closing thoughts, ladies?
No,
just say that's.
I was just going to say, if you've watched this now or you're watching it on replay, let us know if you like this sort of stuff. Tell us what else you want to know, what questions you've got for us, what topics you want us to focus on, because this show is not just about camaraderie and being the team there for you. It's kind of a lunch and learn time as well now, where we want to add more value into this. So let us help you learn stuff that you need to know about. You've got 3 people here who are willing to spill the beans on most things. So yeah, it'd be great to hear from you.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for joining, whether on replay or live. Much appreciated. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, ladies. Nice to see you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.